Hi, it's Cynthia Forstman.
And Teresa Agresta coming to you again from Culture Talk with our weekly ideas on Thursdays with Culture Talk. We're excited to be back with you this week.
Yeah. And this week we want to share an idea that I actually learned from the former CEO and president of a company called Empro Industries. His name is Steve McAdam. And I had a chance to study with Steve and a number of other really cool, conscious business leaders in a program called the Inner MBA. But Steve, as he was working on, let's call it culture and people development at Empro, one of his observations was if you see, people development, if you will, as a means to an end. In other words, I need to develop my people so that. Yeah, it's the same words. Right. So that, I can accomplish something that actually limits their potential, right? But if instead you make a pure investment in a person, in an individual that's part of your team, that actually causes, the development aspect to almost become a side effect of your caring for them, right? Because when we invest in people, what it says to them is you're valuable. I see you matter here. And that creates a totally different kind of dynamic. And that's something that he talked about doing with a very large organization of Empro, taking the time to get to know each employee, to hear their story. He also
about Cynthia, that old adage, we've heard this a lot. What if I train my people, develop my people, invest in my people, and they leave?
Mm.
And then the flip side of that is, well, what if you don't and they stay? And that kind of speaks to some degree to what you're sharing a little bit. So this new idea says, develop them for a different reason. Develop them anyway. And if they go, you'll have made this lasting impact on their life. But they're more likely to stay, become engaged, and to give more.
Right.
Because you did it for the right reasons. So it takes it even further. It takes it even further.
Yeah, I think it kind of like flips development on its head as well, because when people, they open up, Steve says, nobody comes to work, nobody in any job, in any role comes and says, gee, I think I want to be mediocre today.
Yeah.
No, people, it's kind of.
I've sort of shared that idea with recently, because it can be really frustrating when people think that, that others, you've got great intention and other people around you do not, in some way.
Yeah. And so it's ingrained in us as human beings to want to grow, to want to step into our potential. And in light of the Great Recession that everybody's talking, not the recession, the great, what's it called? Everybody's leaving, leaving their jobs, leaving their companies.
Resignation, the great
resignation. Thank you. I mean, I think this is an idea with some merit to ask yourself as a leader, do I have an agenda that I'm attaching to people development that almost makes that person feel like maybe my wall goes up because now I don't feel it's about me. I feel it's about you and what you need. Versus do I just invest in that person and allow them to then tap into their own inner drive and become, developed almost as a side effect.
Yeah, it's that caregiver archetype that is at play. If you think about sort of the highest level of delivery around that, if you think about, does that caregiver archetype have a role to play in your organizational culture or in your own leadership style that sort of is very altruistic about the way that you care for people?
All right, so something to think about. If you are a leader or somehow responsible for training and developing people as a coach, as a consultant, maybe there's a different model in a different way that actually does allow people to reach their own potential.
Right. Just a thought to plant, something to further think about.
Yeah.
So thanks for being with us this week. We look forward to sharing some more ideas next week on Thursdays with Culture Talk.